So yeah, there's something wrong with the pistons. Yes, piston slap, which is, like that is not good. So the whole engine basically has to be rebuilt. Instead of Volk racing, you have VOLH racing. So you have Vol racing. Basically straight pipe. Welcome to another episode of Aftermarket, and in today's video I'm going to talk about project cars, and specifically 3 reasons why they are absolutely miserable to have and to drive and to own them, and it's not as glamorous as you see on the internet. A lot of things behind the scenes. There's a lot of pain involved into actually buying, building, and the drive one of these cars. Before we get into that, I'm just gonna give you a tour of my car and basically go through with you what has been done to this car, and basically just give you a quick tour of this build. Basically, I actually made a video of this car a while back when my channel was starting out, and it's been a while since I did an update on this car. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, now this is my 1995 Proton Satria that has been converted into a Mitsubishi Monster. It's pushing about 337 horsepower, and it weighs just under 1,000 kilos. And it's all nice, and it's all, I would say it's pretty much finished now. There's a few little bits and pieces that I have to get it sorted, and basically preparing this car to be shipped back to Australia. And overall, like, if you stand from a distance, it actually looks pretty sick. If you realize a stock Proton Satria doesn't actually look like this, it looks more like this. Now, it has done a front end conversion with all the body parts from a Mirage in Japan, and also just the styling of it. We have to cut some of the front buds when I install like the lower control arms, just because it is actually scraping, and obviously like the body shop didn't actually do a good job. It's actually absolutely ugly. And on the other side, same story as well. But one thing I have to say, I really like the front end fitment of this car. It has a TE37s. One thing I'm not proud of is these wheels. They are replicas. They are replicas of TE37s. I'm not proud of it. I was short on cash, and instead of going genuine, I actually bought a replica. And as you can see, instead of Volk racing, you have VOLH racing. So you have Vol racing. Not proud of it, and again, don't roast me on the comments. I know, I should have gotten the genuine, but like, it is what it is. It works. It has some pretty good tires on it. So yeah, like, it's running 205 50 15s, and these are basically really good tires, plenty of traction, and these are forged, so they are really light. So I just want to point out this Vol racing. This thing is loud. This is really loud. Let me just go into the bonnet. Now, so instead of 4G63 Evo swapping this car, just basically based on the legalities of it, like, it's actually really hard to actually officially swap a 2-liter engine from a Evo. So we just basically beefed up this 4G93 1.8 engine. So 4G93, the specs, it's basically we built up from the bottom end. New crankshaft, new pistons, new rods, 272 cams. There's a huge turbo there. It's a TD05 23G So it's an all with an Evo 7 intercooler at the front. The most that we can push it is 337 horsepower, and it's and the only thing that is stopping it from going more is actually the airflow meter here, because this is from a stock 1.8. So if I upgrade this to a Evo 3, the 4G63 airflow meter, we can push a bit more power. And also, if I go with a aftermarket ECU, that's fine. It's running Evo 7 ECU with the black casing. So obviously, this car it's pretty well built. Suspension, coilovers, lower control arms, all that good stuff. Now, let's talk about the things that is absolutely miserable to own with a project car like this. Now, let's dive into the first point of why is it miserable to own one of these cars. And number one, obviously, it's cost. Now, it can be very, very expensive. If you break down into individual parts, they are actually not too bad, but it adds up really, really fast. So when I bought this car, I bought it for 25,000 ringgits, which translates to about roughly around like 8,000 Australian dollars. Now, a month after owning this car, the engine actually blew up. So there's something wrong with the pistons. Yes, piston slap, which is, like that is not good. So the whole engine basically has to be rebuilt. And I just want to, I came in with the attitude of do it once, do it right kind of thing. So, like no expenses spared, like build up from the bottom end. And things are really, really expensive. And I've spent way over budget, and things are always, it always adds up, and it's a never ending cycle, right? Once you fix something, it breaks and the cycle continues. Not only the engine, like the whole chassis by itself, it could be the suspension, it could be the brakes, it could be the wheels, it could be the transmission, it's crunching third at the moment. So obviously I will have to change the transmission at some point, and that costs money. Eventually the clutch is going to wear out, that costs money. The coilovers on this, they are not the best. They are very standard entry level BC coilovers. It's already showing its age, right? And there's just things like this that will go wrong, and it's just a never-ending maintenance, upgrades cycle. If you have OCD and you want to get it as sorted as possible, you better have really, really deep pockets. So that's the first point of no one really talks about it. Everyone wants to show off their finished build, but no one really talks about how expensive it is to actually own one of your project cars, right? Now, moving on to the second point of owning a project car, it's basically support. Now, you can't just bring it into any workshop and say like, hey, like I want this to be replaced, I want this to be fixed. A lot of standard workshops, they don't even want to touch a project car like this, right? They want something that is, they just want to do normal cars because they basically have the schematics for it. They know how to diagnose, but to diagnose when something goes wrong, you know how hard is it to diagnose? So one of the most recent issue that I have, the aftermarket coil and plug setup, one of the basically the main loom, it's showing its age, and it would just not start, and we couldn't figure out like what was going on. It has spark, but sometimes it wouldn't have spark. We thought it's the ECU, and we just spent days trying to diagnose one of these cars, and we just couldn't figure it out. And at the end, I managed to figure out myself, it is actually the coil and plug loom right here. I just ordered a replacement for that loom, and I fixed it myself for $50. But most workshops, just on diagnostic fees by itself, they charge a ton for this. So basically support, you can either find very specific workshops that will work on this car, or you just have to be hands-on and try to diagnose it yourself. If you're a car guy, you should be hands-on anyway. The thing about me is I have to learn how to be hands-on because I'm not the best with my hands, So that is the second point, is basically support. You have to find a community, like a workshop that is that knows these cars in and out, and they are willing to work on one of these cars. And the third point about owning a project car like this, they are not daily friendly. It is very loud, it is not comfortable, it is absolutely miserable to drive on a day-to-day traffic, especially if there's a heavy traffic somewhere, you have the clutch is heavy, and it's just overall not a very pleasant experience. Now, one of the aircon fans, it is actually seized, so it is not good for the aircon system to actually drive it when there's peak hour traffic, especially in Malaysia's weather. It's basically 30 degrees and humid every single day. No aircon, it is absolutely miserable. So with that being said, let's go for a drive. In. It is very loud. Basically straight pipe with a Jasma muffler. Very loud. Not only it's loud, I have to wait for the car to warm up to drive it hard. So I usually will wait until it reaches operating temperature, which is about like 80-ish, and with the oil temperature to be roughly around 60 before I can start driving hard. Good thing is the gauges are cool, and so I will start scrolling slowly until we get up to temperature. Now, because this car is decat, it smells horrible. Despite being miserable, it puts a smile on my face every single time I drive it. I always say this, it's not about the horsepower, it's about the way that it's being delivered. And this is something that EVs, electric vehicles, it just couldn't replicate. Let's go, it's green. And one thing I forgot to mention, they are really bad on fuel. So they don't make the best daily. But with all the fun, it puts a smile on your face, even though it's miserable to actually own one of this. It is my pride and joy, and it makes me happy. And that's what this is all about. This is my build. This is my own style. Now, with that being said, whenever boost hits, it just puts a smile on my face every single time. Now, if you haven't followed me on Instagram already, do follow us on Instagram down here. As always, I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, obviously, you know the drill, like, subscribe, hit the bell, let me know down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.